What is this, a center for ants? In order for the building to work, we'll have to be at least 3 times this size. Welcome back in to the Bro Force Squad podcast. Just a bunch of bros talking superheroes, movies, and superhero movies. I'm your host, Jeff Hornacek. We are so glad you are joining us. This is our 33rd episode. But before we get started, let's meet the other bro with me on the pod today. A man who once fought a pizza delivery guy because he, quote, looked me in the eye, end quote, Matt Geiger. Matt, what's up, man?
Everyone knows my spiritual animal is a pit bull, so don't look me at the fucking eye. Especially when you're 20 minutes later than you said delivering the pizza.
Did you at least tip him still, even though you knocked his ass out?
His tip was that I didn't end his life.
And that's more than 10%.
Damn right.
All right, guys. Typically, we do our show in 3 categories. We do a chest day topic, like a serious or a bigger topic we want to talk about, a protein shake topic, a smaller one, and then we go straight into internet questions. Today, not much going on in the world of movies, so we decided to just be lazy and go straight into questions we found off the internet in a segment we like to call, Do You Even Lift, Bruh? If Banner were here, he'd be, Bruh! So we'll say that on his behalf. Let's dive right into it. Our first question that we found comes to us from @PopPunkPosey, who asks, not ass, do you have a favorite current actor or actress, Geiger?
Mine's going to be Ryan Reynolds. He's been my favorite current actor for a while. Coming up with Van Wilder and Waiting. Waiting's probably one of my favorite closet comedies of all time. Then diving into more serious roles. I don't know if I call Deadpool a serious role, but I loved him in Smokin' Aces.
Great.
There's a lot of movies that he's in that he can just do a fucking range of shit, dude. He can be a comedian, he can get in shape, he can do serious. I'm going to pick him. On the female side, I have one movie to judge this off, but I think she's going to be great in the Star Wars movie this summer. I think she's going to be great in Murder in the Orient Express. And that's Daisy Ridley. Yep. I really like where I think she's going, and I think Hollywood is going to get her in roles that's going to let her shine because she's the new flavor of the week, and I think she is going to make it in Hollywood and maybe be like the next Emma Stone or someone like that.
That's a good one. So, man, I had a couple here I was trying to choose between. So I want to pick Jessica Chastain just because she was in Zero Dark 30 and she's incredibly hot. But then I said to myself, who's an actress that's just as hot but has been in some more recent movies? Now, you're going to disagree with me on one of these, so fuck you. But I'm going to go with Charlize Theron. So I actually liked her as the villain in Fate of the Furious. She was really good in Atomic Blonde, and I really liked her in Mad Max Fury Road. And also, she doesn't age. Look at a picture of her from now versus 8 years ago. So I kind of want to know that secret.
Any chick that can make herself really ugly and still be an awesome actress, that's skill, man.
Yeah, because then you're actually looking at her acting, which is kind of a nice change.
Monster was the movie I was referring to, I believe.
She plays, the chick she plays even has an ugly name. It's Eileen Wuornos.
Yeah, who'd want to have a one-night stand with that chick? That sounds like a cause. Like, you had a one-night stand with Eileen Wuornos?
He's like, no, it was over the pants stuff. Who the fuck told you that?
Bro, I was really hammered. I don't even remember it.
She threw herself at me. What was I supposed to do? Say no? All right. Great question, Pop Punk Posey. On to our second question. It comes to us from Gareth Toll @GTollAngafa, who says, is there a better or more perfect movie than The Dark Knight out there? Geiger, you are our resident DC guy. Is there?
We already answered this question. We did a comic book movie madness tournament that lasted 4 months long that whenever we first became a podcast, I don't think many people listened to. So please go back and check it out. It's actually really good before we started trending on YouTube. But no, there's not. Let's think of some things that make a great movie. Directing, Nolan, check. Cast, Heath Ledger, Christian Bale, Michael Caine, Morgan Freeman, check. Story, it's a Batman story, but it's not really related to the comics. But the story in this is bar none. Script, great, and score. I have to tell you, man, this score on here is just as good as any Star Wars score ever. I'll say, I don't know why it's not played at, maybe it's not old enough to be played at baseball games and stuff like that, like Jaws or Star Wars. The score in this is 10 out of 10.
That fucking gets me going.
Checks every fucking box.
So I don't know if you looked at it as a comic book movie. I read the question as just a better or more perfect movie than The Dark Knight out there, which for me, I still think it's the best made movie I've ever seen. The only movie that I enjoy more than this, and you know this because I talk about it all the time, is Back to the Future.
Yeah.
Right, stop! To me, that's my favorite movie of all time. Is it a better or more perfect movie, Gareth? Probably not, if you made me sit down and argue it in that regard, but it's my favorite movie ever, and The Dark Knight is second. And as a Marvel guy, you know that I'm telling the truth there.
The script's probably just good. It's apples to turkeys, but I don't know if the cast is as good in Back to the Future. The script is probably just as good. The story is definitely just as
Yeah,
good.
the story is
really
really unique, but yeah, there's no performance in any movie compared to Heath Ledger as a Joker. Our next question comes to us from 2Bossy at Bossy2, who asks, so much hype for Ragnarok doesn't open until November. Hope I'm wrong, but does this smell like Suicide Squad to you? I'll jump in here first. First off, when I even read the word Suicide Squad, I had to excuse myself to go to the bathroom. Not to shit or piss, let me put it that way. That movie really disappointed me, but to me it's the only misstep DC's had because I love BVS, I love Wonder Woman, and I'm Man of Steel every time I see it, it gets better. The only thing I'm worried about with Ragnarok is Taika Waititi as the director. His only other movie, What We Do in the Shadows, I think it's funny, but it's not at all like a Marvel movie, and I know there's a recipe for guys doing something way out of left field compared to a Marvel film and having success, but that's my only reservation. You give me the Hulk and Thor on screen, and I'm going to be there, obviously, opening night, jacked up. So I would be lying if I didn't say I was a little nervous, like a parent about to watch his kid try and play soccer, but not too concerned. How about you?
I kind of agree with Tubasi, I believe is her name, is where she's going here because we were tricked, maybe even bamboozled, from the Suicide Squad trailer, and the Thor trailer looks awesome. The Suicide Squad trailer, all of those looked fucking awesome. But this is where I'll disagree. Thor's do. Any trilogy peaks at some point. We just got off the Dark Knight. The second one peaked. Iron Man, the first one peaked. Captain America, the second one peaked with Winter Soldier. Thor's never peaked. And this is the third movie of the trilogy. The first one was probably a B. The second one was probably a D plus, C minus. This one looks like it has the story. It's going right into Infinity War, so everyone's going to – the stakes could not be higher. It's got Hulk in it. It's got Hemsworth looking that he's going to have a full character turn, going to have the short hair and everything like that. So I'm going to disagree on that. Go see it. Suicide Squad was just, I think, an outlier, just a tremendous piece of shit. And this is made by Marvel, who usually always gets their ducks in a row.
Yeah. All right. Our next question comes to us from Tomas Reyna at Tomas Reyna 2, who asks straight up, should Logan win an Oscar? Now, Geiger, this was on our very beginning of the calendar year pod. This was your pick for the fucking best movie of the year. So I'll let you go first because you were incredibly right on that claim, even before we had got to go see it in theaters.
Yeah, go check it out. I listen to it every morning just because I like to hear that I'm right. But he's asking, should it? Now, if you're asking me, should it? Yes, absolutely, it should. But I'll take it a step farther. Will it? So, I don't think it'll win Best Picture. It could win Best Actor or Best Director. I'm going to say this right now. Leo in The Revenant was great. I don't think it was the best role he's ever done, but he won Best Actor for it. I'm going to say Hugh Jackman was just as good in this as Leo in The Revenant. I don't know if, most people we listen to are comic book fans, so I think they'll probably agree with me. People that are actually in the movie industry that, sniff wine 10 minutes just to drink it for 5 minutes might disagree with me, but I don't give a fuck about them. I think he did just as good as job as Leo did in The Revenant, who won, Best Actor, I think it was 2 years ago.
Dude, the crazy thing is I think Stewart should get a nom for supporting actor. He was out of control in that movie.
That's true. That's just a really hard one to get because you got people like, Tom Hardy or someone that is going to be up there. Someone's going to be up there for that Nolan movie that was a piece of Dunkirk. Someone's going to be up there for it, even though they didn't talk through the whole fucking thing.
So, Tomas, from my opinion, to answer your question, should it? Absolutely. Whether it's Best Picture is it's hard for me to say that because there's so many good fucking movies, but it's the best movie I've seen this year. And I've seen some of the Oscar bait movies. Will it? I don't think so, man.
The one thing it's got going, it's way up against the wall. It came out March 3rd.
Yeah.
The Oscars are February. It's somewhere around Valentine's Day right after the Super Bowl. So people have a whole year. It's not hot. It's not new. It's not relevant. There's going to be some Oscar movies come out December, January for sure.
I want to see movies like this, and even like Split, get some love for maybe Best Original Screenplay. But I'm so worried that the Oscars have become, like you were saying,
Get Out needs to get a ton of love for sure.
Exactly, and I think that actually might. But I'm worried the Oscars have become this art house. Oh, my father, to the point where it's like, all right, dude, these aren't
too many
even.
people have seen it. It's not cool enough to get an Oscar, which is bullshit. If you go back and look at Oscars from 70s, 80s, even sometimes like The Lion King won an Oscar for a bunch of stuff.
That needs to be my text ringtone. That'd be so.
We are going to do a drunk Lion King movie commentary for all of those that are asking. We're going to film it in a couple weeks.
Keep your eyes peeled for that. All right, next question comes to us from Chad Steele at Real Deal Steele 8, who wants to know, if you rebooted Weekend at Bernie's, who would you cast to do it? Geiger, this is a movie you and I admittedly, I saw it once when I was like 8 years old. I know the premise because everyone fucking makes fun of it. It's an interesting concept because if you did this today, rated R, the premise is ridiculous, but I think the movie would be fucking hilarious. Who would you put as the cast in front of camera?
Yeah, it's an interesting movie. I saw it when I was younger, but I wasn't old enough to comprehend it. I saw it probably about 4 months ago when I was old enough to comprehend it. This might be a movie that's just so 80s, it's too stupid to do now, which I would probably go see if it was rated R. So Larry and Richard, high school age kids going into college. So Larry, I would cast Zac Efron. Richard, I would cast Spider-Man Tom Holland. We need to get him some more roles.
Yeah.
He's fresh off Spider-Man. Let's get him some chick flicks. Let's get him some comedies so Hollywood really gets on his dick. And Bernie, dude, what's Jack Nicholson doing?
He might actually be dead, so we can just take his actual...
hair just insane, and I mean, he wears sunglasses all the time. I think that would be awesome. I mean, you're asking me for my dream cast, so that's him. There's no way Jack Nicholson. You'd have to pay him $1 million just to stand there and act dead for fucking an hour. But yeah, that's who I got.
I mean, we could get. This isn't my casting choice, but we could fucking get Bruce Willis to play Bernie because he basically is dead, and every time he shows up to set for any movie he does now, anyway.
Yeah.
My cast, so the younger guys are fun because I feel like there's so many good ones going in Hollywood. I cast this guy for everything, but that's because he can fucking do everything. Give me Michael B. Jordan as one of the two guys. And then, man, the other one I was really struggling with, but Andrew Garfield. I want to see him in a lighter role, man. I feel like he has some comedic potential. Some of his scenes in the Mark Webb-directed Amazing Spider-Mans, especially the first one where he really got to be Peter having fun with being Spider-Man, he could really play that role well. And then for Bernie, this guy, the last comedy movie he did was Blades of Glory, and he was hilarious in it. Give me Coach Craig T. Nelson. I don't know,
what has he done since Blades of Glory?
I don't know how you.
That's a great casting, actually.
I don't know how you sell someone on this role. Like, hey, show up and be a corpse for 2 months. He's like, all right, I guess. Well, at least we know he doesn't take himself so seriously that he would totally rule it out. All right, next question comes to us from David Crennan at Odie_3, and he wants to know favorite Tom Hanks movie. Geiger, this is a deep list of filmography.
This segues exactly into this because you're talking about Garfield only doing serious movies and not comedies.
Yeah.
And you know I'm so sorry. I'm pouring a beer right now.
That takes priority.
Yeah, take your time. I'm so out on Tom Hanks because other than his Saturday Night Lives, which I love,
which are hilarious,
yeah, he's fantastic in those. He just does. If it's not going to give me an Oscar, don't even fucking knock on my door and make me read a script. So I'm going to pick, I believe, one of the first movies he's ever done. I could pick a ton of Tom Hanks movies, but they basically stop in like 1994. Bachelor Party. Now, I know it's not as crude and as rated R as, you know, Hangover or something like that, but go back and watch it, man. It is a great movie. He's getting married to Tawny Katane, who, if you're our age, you're probably like, who the fuck is that? That's the chick that you pop your first boner to the Whitesnake videos. That's that girl. And that was when she was in her prime in the 80s. So go back and watch Whitesnake, the chick that was dancing on the
hood of their car.
It's that girl. And there's some other comedians in there. One guy like just got dumped and he's just trying to kill himself the whole time, which is kind of fucking funny. But Tom Hanks, in his 80s, in his prime, he wasn't taking himself too seriously in a straight-up comedic role, rated R. Go check it out.
It's a good answer, man. You and I are both going to take this one way back. This is late 80s, early 90s, I recall. Maybe one of the first movies I ever vividly remember seeing. And mine is Big. There's an iconic scene when he plays that floor keyboard piano in the mall. that we all remember. Other movies have
Nice.
tried to
Yeah.
emulate it. It's just a great movie, and if you're one of our younger listeners, maybe you haven't seen it before, I highly recommend it. It shows you why people fell in love with Tom Hanks. He has so much charisma. He's just a fucking everyman who has ridiculous amounts of charm on screen. Great question, David.
League of Their Own is another one too, and Splash.
Wow, I love Splash.
Splash
Forgot
is
about
awesome,
that
too.
one. Who didn't want to bang a mermaid their whole life, and then you see Splash, you're like, she can't even
Like,
talk.
oh,
It's
they
perfect.
are hot. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, I'll watch this movie.
And they don't argue with you. It's incredible. All right, our next question comes to us from Greg at GregToth86, who says, I was wondering if you think they should remaster the CGI in Star Wars episodes 1, 2, 3 to match the more realistic episodes. Well, he's put 1 through 4, but I'm assuming he meant the first 3 that came out in the original. So here's my thing quickly on this. I'd be totally down for them to remaster it, but I don't want them to do what Lucas did when he went back and made the special editions of the originals, where he added weird scenes, like that scene in Jedi when they're in Jabba's palace and then like a Macy Gray type alien starts singing in the middle of the room. Don't add anything, just make it better. And now that George Lucas isn't going to be like, I think there's some option here to add a little more characters, I think we'll be good. So to answer your question, Greg, I think that'd be cool. Plus, it's an excuse for them to make more money. And let's be honest, I would fucking go see him again in theaters. Geiger, what do you think?
I'm gonna say don't touch him, and the reason is because CGI was terrible in the first 3, but it wasn't the fucking problem. It was the script and the lines. So if you're gonna go back and actually change what Hayden Christensen and Natalie Portman say to each other, I might actually go back and rewatch it. But that wasn't the problem. It was the storytelling, the script, Sandus Course bullshit that we made fun of on our episode 2 movie commentary was the problem. I mean, the CGI was terrible, but it wasn't the number one problem.
That Sandus course line is legit one of the worst lines in any movie.
It's
ever.
rough and gets everywhere. I hate water. It's wet.
I also hate the sky. It's all airy and shit. All right, our next question comes to us from Ruben Garcia at Gark1795, who wants to know, what are the chances Matthew Vaughn of Kingsman, both of them, and X-Men First Class and Kick-Ass, ends up directing Man of Steel 2? Geiger, DC guy, what do you got?
I think pretty high. I'd rather have George Miller, but I think those talks have kind of faded because really, man, Kingsman is kind of a mid-level trilogy right now. It's going to be a trilogy. George Miller's too high on the list. He's not going to fuck with Warner Brothers and have them cut apart his movie. That's the problem with DC right now is they're not attracting any high-level directors. They're a fucking joke. And I'm the DC guy. They're a cesspool, and no one wants to go over there because, dude, I'm a high-ranked director. I can do any other movie, and you won't cut it to shit. You know, if you know, I love Snyder, but if my kid dies, you're gonna bring in Josh Whedon and take out all the Lex Luthor scenes. Fuck that. I'm not gonna deal with that. I'm gonna go like George Miller, go and win Oscars. So sadly, yes, Matthew Vaughn will probably be directing it.
Yeah, and I wanted Miller too, but I think the Mad Max sequel is going to tie him up just because it's still in pre-production. I'm going to say
it's not called Man of Steel 2.
Yeah. I'm going to say very high on this one. Matthew Vaughn has teased stuff about the story and the themes that he would like to see in a Man of Steel sequel. At this point, I would be shocked if he didn't direct it. But I think that's a good get. He's a good director. I've liked, I think, all of his movies, to be honest, that I've seen. So be a nice win for DC. We actually have another question about that later, so stay tuned. Next question comes from Seif at SeifOSid, who says, what do you think of a Who Framed Roger Rabbit remake? Who would you cast? So this is like a cult classic movie from when I was a kid. It was one of the first films that did animation with live action, and it's a pretty dark theme. It's about a murder investigation. Here's my cast. Bryce Dallas Howard as Jessica Rabbit. Oh, yeah.
Nice.
Right? With the little red hair over her eye. Jesus Christ. Christopher Walken as Judge Doom. Roger Rabbit the whole time. And then Kurt Russell as Eddie Valiant, the detective working with Roger Rabbit the whole time. What do you think of that? And then what do you have, Geiger?
I got Eddie as Gerard Butler.
Ooh, okay. I can see that.
I got Judge Doom as Sir Michael Caine.
Roger Rabbit, I don't think that you know what you're up against.
I think he'd be awesome as it. I got the voice of Roger Rabbit as Charlie Day.
I don't know. I didn't kill the guy.
And I got Jessica Rabbit as Christina Hendricks, a la the big-titted, red-haired chick from Mad Men.
She is Jessica Rabbit, dude.
And she's in, like, Buick commercials now or something.
It almost scares me how much she looks like Jessica Rabbit.
But that'd be cool, man. That'd be cool to see for sure. That's a good question.
And I think a movie like that could do pretty well in this day and age of movie going.
I mean, you're revamping movies that came out in 1994. You might as well revamp a movie that came out. I believe it came out in the 80s. I think.
Yeah, or like
80s.
early 90s. But dude,
Yeah.
Charlie Day as Roger Rabbit, that's a great choice. And I hate Charlie Day, so for me to say that that's good casting, that is.
I was thinking, I was like, who's an annoying cartoon voice? I'm like, oh, Charlie Day.
All right, our next question comes to us from Garrett Neese. Hope we're pronouncing that right, Garrett. Sorry if we're not. At Garrett Neese, who says, if you had one shot to quote an entire movie from memory right now, which would you try? Let's be honest. Mine is The Avengers. The Tesseract has awakened. I can do the whole thing from start to finish. But if you put a gun to my head and said, I'm going to blow your brains out right now, I would probably have to go Tommy Boy just because it's shorter. And once I got in the rhythm of it, there was not like long action scenes that I'd have to think like, okay, what's the next line? So The Avengers or Tommy Boy. I know those are way different ends of the spectrum. Geiger, I bet yours is a comedy.
Yeah, it's actually more direct than that. It's a sports comedy. I got two of them. I played baseball my entire life. Bull Durham is one of my favorite fucking movies of all time. I can do that start to finish. Gun to my head, gun to my dick, gun to my mouth. I can do that movie. And then Tin Cup. I can do that. I say Tin Cup lines anytime I golf on the weekends. I literally do at least 4 Tin Cup lines for sure.
Garrett, that's an awesome question. Garrett, tweet at us one that you could do because we
Yeah,
never
that's
know.
fucking a sick question.
We never know when you'll have a gun to your head and you have to actually do this. It could happen.
Because we're not funny. We just do movie lines.
Right. Every funny thing I've ever said was written by someone else.
For sure.
I just have a good memory. Our last question comes to us from Miguel A. Garcia at Real Blackheart, who asks, how do you bring back Clark Kent in Justice League or Man of Steel 2? Or do you at all? And we need to clarify here. There's a great question, Miguel.
Yes.
Clark Kent, not Superman. Geiger, what do you got?
Miguel, I found this question, and I love this fucking question, because when I read it, I first thought, what the fuck? This dude's an idiot. They're going to bring back Superman. But then I reread it, and I'm like, wait a second. He's smarter than me because he's talking about Clark Kent, which brings up an interesting question. Superman is an alien. I mean, some people might think he's God in this universe we live in. He could come back from the dead, no questions asked. I don't know how they're going to bring him back. I mean, they could do a bunch of different things. But Clark Kent is a human that works at the Daily Planet. And sadly, when I read this, I don't think they can bring him back. You can't just have Clark Kent die and then come back with Lawrence Fishburne. He's like, I thought you were dead. He's like, nah, I was just chilling. By the way, I have that, story on the JV football team, and yeah, the coach did rape them. I'm like, you can't do that.
He's like, look, Perry White, just to get you off my case, I'm gay and I thought I had AIDS. That's where he's like, what? I don't think
Which is sad because, and I'm with a bunch of not so much DC fans, but Superman fans on this, is they're like, dude, we never get a fair shake of Superman fans. Batman gets all the shit. That'd be like taking away Bruce Wayne and just having a Batman.
I agree.
Clark Kent has a lot of great comic book moments, especially with Lois Lane and the Daily Planet, that they're just getting rid of. And I don't see him coming back, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with all that. To me, just like Bruce Wayne to Batman, Clark Kent to me is more interesting than Superman is. So
yeah.
I'm a little disappointed that we really only got half of a movie with him as Clark Kent. I say that because he's not Clark Kent at the Daily Planet. He's not at the planet in Man of Steel. And in BVS, I mean, that's basically half a Batman movie. So...
And I think what DC is trying to do is they're trying to use Superman as the buff and bronze, but Clark did a lot of investigative work because he was a reporter in the comics, and they're just going to throw that away, which isn't cool at all. I mean, he'll still be Clark Kent in front of his mom, but I don't think we're going to get any Daily Planet Clark Kent at all. Yeah,
it's a great question, Miguel, one that honestly hadn't even thought about until you brought that up, which is pretty insane to think about. All right, guys, that has been the Bro 4 Squad for Matt Geiger. I am Jeff Hornacek. Before we let you go, give us a follow on Twitter at Bro 4 Squad. Tweet at us all the ridiculous shit that comes to your mind. We want to interact with you guys there. Give us a like on Facebook, Bro 4 Squad Podcast. That's 4 words. Subscribe to us on iTunes and YouTube, Bro 4 Squad. Leave us a review on iTunes. We will read the shit out of it on our show. And as you can always do on that handy-dandy internet, check out everything we're doing at bro4squad.com. Thanks for listening to us, and we will catch you next time.
Jessica, we have dinner reservations. We gotta go.